My name is Juan Sarmiento. I work for Florida International University, based in Miami. I have been working for several years, and now this is an excellent opportunity to share with you some experiences that we have that is exactly the continuation of the topic that just was presented, but in a different way. We began having a kind of a study throughout the Americas region, and we conducted a research in different cities. We went to Vancouver, we spent time in Miami, we did in San Jose, Costa Rica, we worked in Kingston, Jamaica, we worked in Bogota, Colombia, and Santiago in Chile. And we started working to know what is going on with the small and medium-sized business related to emergency and disasters. And we wanted to know more about what is going on here in our region. What are the perceptions? What are the beliefs? What are the behavior? So one of the things that we learn is that only 20% of the small business really had something that could be called emergency plan or business continuity. Only 20%. So we say, what is going on? Why this is happening? So we start asking people what is going on, and they start saying, in one of the situations, they were not aware about that this is needed, really. We only open some hours a day. We have our factory. We have everything under control. Why we are going to care having this type of activity? Other people says, we don't have resources. We don't have something to take, to use as a template or something to follow, a guidelines. Other people say, this is not a legal mandate, so why we're going to care spending time and money if it's not a requisite or something that we need to have? Other people say, okay, I would like to have this, but there are other priorities at this point. So I really would like to have, but there is no time. Other people says, okay, there's a problem with budget. I don't have budget. I am not going to work on that. And other people blame the managers or the other people at the organization. So we start trying to explore ways to engage people. Particularly, we were interested in young business owners. So those people that are more in the business mode, that they don't have enough time to go into the training sessions, into a very kind of systematic approach. So we decided to go with other partners in South Florida in order to understand in this kind of multicultural environment, what are the other players there? So we found that there was in our university, as always happens, you only realize that there are other people doing what you imagine that is something unique, and you find that there are several players. And we found that there is one that is called the Small Business Development Center. This is a kind of alliance between the Small Business Administration, that is a federal agency that fosters finance and provide insurance for small business, and my university. And they provide some assistance in training and research. And we decided to work with them, but particularly with young people, in order to identify alternatives. And we came with something that was something that we wanted to have a systematic process, but without spending too much time. And the idea was to develop an application that would be available in different type of platforms, and that would help the business owners not only to prepare for, but to respond to. So that was the initial part, and we bring together different specialists from different areas, and we start playing with this new generation in order to translate those kind of technical terms to something easy to swallow, easy to implement. And that's why that we start collecting in one single application a critical documents, a critical steps that can be tailored by the participants, by the owners of that. So first, we wanted to introduce them through this multi-hazard approach. That is what I wanted from the previous presentation, that they have exactly the same style of trying to invite people to see the different type of hazards, perils that are around them. And in order to do that, they could tailor the checklist and other resources that we are going to mention now. And the idea was to have this available at no cost. This is the other thing. We wanted to have something that there is no excuse about budget. This is available. And the idea was to work in Android mobile devices and also in Apple. So we could use both systems initially in 2 languages, and now we are moving into Creole. The idea is to have in all South Florida, but more than South Florida, we are now working in some countries in the Caribbean region, and we are doing the first attempts in Colombia, in Medellin, in order to incorporate particularly those businesses that are still in the informal side, those people that have not been totally involved and immersed in the formality of the chambers of commerce and other type of resources that are available. So part of the interest of this program came into the attention of the U.S. Agency for International Development, the Office of Foreign Disaster Assistance, and we started working with them and using this application in some type of informal settlements in several countries, finding a very interesting reception. And something that at the beginning we said, oh, but what would be the literacy of these people, the capacity of them to deal with that? And you would be surprised at how these people finally get engaged on this, and they are now providing us an excellent feedback about how to improve and how to work with this. So basically, with this multi-hazard approach, the idea is that they start identifying the hazards, they start identifying and assigning some typical qualifications in terms of magnitude, in terms of periodicity, and they start working with that in such a way that they are going to get some kind of prioritization throughout the process. So slowly they are getting the point in which they are playing, and what happens if I say that this is more frequent? What happens if this is less frequent? What happens if the intensity of the impact is higher or not? And they can play, and they can see that the list immediately change the order in order to understand which type of hazard they should start working first. Once they start identifying the type of risk and the frequency and the severity, they start working with some specific control measures. And there are a list of actions, interventions that they could follow in order to complement what they are doing. The good aspect is that they can tailor this. And part of what we are doing is we are matching with other kind of organizations, institutions that can provide technical support to them. And the idea is we are not trying to duplicate the system. If we have an institution that it fosters and provides services to a small business, this is the way that we want to go. So we don't want to duplicate. We don't want to be the university that goes and take some surveys and then go out and the community is alone. No, no. We try to have a kind of long-term view, some sustainability strategy. And with this support, we expect that they are going to be able to have the list of different type of hazard, the type of interventions that they need to have. And the good thing is that this is a kind of plan, an action plan that they are going to get. So they can slowly start introducing some activities and they can say, okay, I did it, I can check it, move to the next one. And the idea is to assist them and to have some level of incentives. That is what we are doing now. Those that are, for example, prepared for fires, we help them and we work with USAID in order to provide some extinguishers. Or if they get the point in which they have, they do what is needed at that step, they can get, for example, a first aid kit, things like that. And the other aspect that is important for us is to see what is going on once a disaster strikes. And this is part of our intention, is to assure that they can resume activities as soon as possible. And that is the other aspect that we want to introduce them in order to have always ready on hand information about their clients, their suppliers, their local emergency contacts, and they can identify some critical information that they need the plumber, that they need the electricity guy, that they need anyone, they have this information on hand. On top of that, we try to identify some type of checklist in order to see what is going on if something happens. I need to close the gas, I need to turn off the light, I need to take my documents, key documents, and save them, etc. So they have everything, and they prepare this in anticipation. We invite them to work with the local emergency guys, so there is a possibility of having collaboration and work as a community. And part of what we want is to listen, how many, those guys are great guys. Those new generation, they are ready to send this, using social media in order to send messages to their clients saying, we are not in service, but we are going to be in service in 2 weeks. The restaurant, the cafeteria, they can maintain the clients informed of that. And they can prepare this. But most of all, what we found is that this is a learning tool. It's a very nice way to go throughout the process and to get the new generation engaged, and the possibility of having at no cost this type of preparation. And for the institutions that we are partnering at this point, this is a huge way for them to start identifying potential members of those associations. And we see a huge impact, particularly in those informal settlements in which we are working in Medellin. It has been amazing to see how they now increase the demand in more than 100% to this organization. So part of the idea is how to get them engaged, how can them really enjoy this, and how can they learn, and then maybe they move to a more kind of a systematic approach in the future. But at least is to offer something that we expect is going to be something that we can extend for the whole Latin American region. And we are planning now by the end of this year to have to convene a group from the different Latin American countries and other in the Caribbean. That's it. Thank you.